Hey everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody. I have the third project here with my Felicity Jane January Kit, and what I'm going to do is the September 2015 Project Life page. So I'm just kind of flipping through the different cards that came in the kit, and I have all these cut apart cards. Now, I of course have my photos. I have, let's see, 3 4x6 photos. I don't have any 3x4 cards this month. But I do have these 3 4x6 cards that I'm going to use to do this Project Life page. I wanted to show you that the Felicity Jane kits are also pretty versatile. You can use them in small scale cards like these 4x6 and 3x4 cards and still use the same embellishments that are included even though it's a scrapbooking kit. Specifically the cut apart sticker sheet, they are just the right scale to use in Project Life pages. So right now what I've got laid out, of course, like I mentioned, are the 4x6 and 3x4 cards, and then I also have all my little scraps here kind of in a pile. And the reason I pulled out my scraps is because when you're doing Project Life, you typically cut things down or use them in very small pieces. So this was a great way to actually use up some of the scraps that I had kind of accumulated as I've been working on the first couple layouts that I used with this kit. Now, the design topic for this page is balance. And what I mean by balance is balancing out the colors, the weight, and also the designs across the page. Now, I use a Becky Higgins Design Age Page Protector almost always, like 99.9% of the time whenever I'm doing my regular monthly spread for Project Life. Now, I may mix in other inserts in between my Project Life month start and month end page, but typically I use at least 2 Design A page protectors for each month. So I'm just very basically laying out these cards, and what I'm showing you is that you can lay out the cards, take a look at it, and then kind of reevaluate where you want to put things. Like right here I'm looking, this heart that I'm using on my title card kind of balances out with this pink card to the right. Looking at the darkness of the bottom photos and then that darkness of the top right photo, does the polka dot look well? These 2 pink cards right next to each other kind of clash because one is a bright pink and one is a dark pink. Now I have the 2 bolder patterns are on the left, and then the more muted softer patterns are on the right, but then I put my 2 pink cards side by side again, so there's just a lot of finagling back and forth. Now this is a pretty good balance right here, and this is almost exactly what I'm going to end with at the very end, but I do have a couple other cards here that I've pulled that were also part of the cut apart sheet. The back side is also this really pretty ombre pink pattern, kind of pink striped pattern, so that's something to think about. Even though that was the 12x12 design on the back side, it was still something to think about. It wasn't such a big bold pattern that I couldn't use it. It still worked well for Project Life sized cards if I felt like using it. And here's another part of that ombre. It's just the lighter part of it. I'm just looking to see if it looks good, but I feel like it kind of clashes with that card that has the text on it. So I end up flipping it to this other side that says 1. And that's a really good balance to the other 3x4 card on the other end of this little row, which is the black and white polka dot card. So it's just a little bit about balance, and the balance also kind of, whenever you're considering balance, it's also something that you need to think about whenever you are doing your embellishments. So I'm going to just show you a couple things and then I'm going to get started. Now, if I use this green vellum heart, I need to mix in other green elements because there cannot be only one green element on my entire Project Life spread, especially not if I'm talking about balance, unless you are making it a point to put different colors across the page. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started into this process video. I'm going to speed you up here so you can see exactly what's going on as I create. So now that we're actually getting into the creating beyond just the design discussion, I'm taking a look at the embellishments that I have and I'm trying to decide, okay, what do I want to include? I do have a few of these wood veneer pieces. This one says celebrate, the other one says follow your on top of an arrow. So the thing that I like to consider whenever I use wood veneer, I do not like. Now, this is not to say that I don't ever do it, but I prefer whenever I am including something like wood veneer or something of a certain color, I like to make sure that there is something else on this layout or on the layout that will be the same color, the same shape, the same type of thing like wood veneer, just to kind of balance it across the page. For whatever reason, my eye prefers balance. Now, I know that there is beauty in design chaos, and that sometimes works for me, but just naturally, I like things to be well balanced. So I went ahead and started with this wood veneer at the top, and it says celebrate. Now, because it is a larger item, I knew that it would need to go on a 4x6 card or on a 4x6 photo. And this just happens to be a picture of Bad Daddy's, which is one of the restaurants that we really like to go to. And we were going to celebrate Ernest's birthday there. So the word celebrate is extremely fitting for this photo, especially since it's the only photo I actually have on this particular spread of his birthday. Now I have a 12 by 12 that's going to go right next to this Project Life page. That's going to include a picture of us on his birthday. But just for this particular spread, I felt like it would be nice to use the word celebrate on there, just to denote that that is something we were celebrating. It's not just a random picture of one of our favorite restaurants. Now, what you're seeing me do, now this may seem a little funny to some of you, but whenever I cut apart, like 12 by 12 cut apart sheets, I know that the Becky Higgins page protectors, like most page protectors, are not true 3x4 sized. And the Project Life cards are actually measured just slightly smaller. So whenever I do a cut apart sheet, just to save myself a bit of heartache later whenever I'm trying to slide these cards into pockets, I like to just trim them by measuring them right next to an already purchased Project Life card that is designed to fit the page protectors perfectly. So I'm just using different bits and scraps. Now that one card that had the text on it said, like, she believed, she could, she did. And these pictures are not about a little girl or about a woman or anything like that. They're just about my family. So I covered those up with the green grid, or like the teal grid that was on a border strip. And this, like I mentioned, because I'm using Project Life cards, using small elements like border strips or small scraps are perfect to use whenever you're doing Project Life, because even though you may not use them on a 12 by 12 and it may seem like those are just scraps that you can throw away, it really fits well on a 12 by 12. It really fits well on a Project Life card, whether it's 3x4, 4x6, even 2x2 or 4x4. So I'm just kind of flipping through all these little bits and pieces that I have sitting up here to the right. And that little arrow strip that you see is, again, another one of those border strips that was cut off of one of the 12 by 12 pages. Now, I typically put all of my 4x6 cards on just plain white cardstock. Well, since I was using 3 photos, they were already printed with the white border, so I didn't need to mat those on white cardstock. And this top left card that I'm using as my title card actually has a white border all the way around the edge, so I did not need to mat that one either, which actually made this very easy. I did have my white cardstock at the ready, though. I always pull that out whenever I'm starting a Project Life page, because I know typically I do need the white cards. Just making my title card here, and if you guys have watched me for a while, you know that I do not work on one card at a time. I move around all the time whenever I'm scrapbooking, and that's part of the balance. If I'm working across the whole page at one time, it helps me be able to balance from one card to the next instead of doing one card, like that green vellum. When I put that vellum heart on there, I knew I would need to put green somewhere else on the page, so I went ahead and put a green piece somewhere else. And that just kind of helps me make sure that that's done. I don't have to think about it. It's done. If I were to do one card at a time, my page would be a lot less balanced because I wouldn't be looking at the page as a whole. I'd just be looking at each card individually. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when I'm purposefully trying to make sure that it's well balanced, that won't work very well for me. Now the sticker cut apart sheet had a well, I think it was like 4 or 5 little bows, which are extremely cute, like incredibly cute. But I don't have little girls and I don't really wear bows in my hair, so I haven't been able to use them as true bows, but I'm trying to use them in different ways. Like I cut this one apart and put it behind this little circle label that I made, and this says, "This is going to be good." And this was just a filler card that I made, and it was to cover up that she believed she did card, or whatever it actually said. Since that wasn't really applicable to my life or to this spread, I just kind of adapted that in a different way. I'm using a lot of these stamps that came in the stamp set. I absolutely adore the Felicity Jane stamp sets, and now that I've got this monthly kit, I'm not going to be getting it next month because I'm going to be doing a different kit comparison for you guys, but I probably will go back and buy the stamp that she puts out every month because they're amazing. I bought this stamp, and I also bought another stamp whenever I ordered the kit because there was another one that was on clearance that was incredibly cute as well, so I went ahead and purchased it, and it's in my stash. I actually pulled it out today and used it for a different project that you guys will see at some point in the future. Now, if you have noticed, a lot of these stickers that I am pulling off and using, I'm matting them on white cardstock, or I'm backing them with white cardstock, I should say, because a lot of these stickers are slightly see-through. They're not transparent by any means, but you can, if there's a bold pattern behind them, you can see it slightly through the sticker. So just to prevent any of that kind of peeking through, I'm just putting them on white cardstock and trimming them out. Now, I needed a little bit more green down here because I moved that green little arrow thing at the top to the title card. So I just pulled out my little handy dandy green, or box of green embellishments. Now, I have recently done this where I reorganized all my extra embellishments and put them in color, or organized them by color. Now, these are not things that are in like sets or kits. What I do after I'm done working with a kit, and I'll do a kit review of this Felicity Jane kit at the end of the week. What I do, if I have any embellishments left, usually I have very little, if any, and if I do have some embellishments left, I'll go ahead and sort those into my color boxes, because there's no point in me keeping one sticker in in the packaging it came in, or there's no point in me keeping two wood veneers in the package that it came with. I'll go ahead and sort it out into my regular scrapbook stash. And those are things either, maybe I've trimmed apart from paper, or I've been given in a rack that I just don't know where they're from. I'll sort them by color and put them in my little boxes. And as you can see, it comes in handy when I need something green to offset or to balance out that green vellum heart. I was able just to pull out that green box very easily and offset it with another little sticker. And actually what that was a half of a label sticker that probably came from an Echo Park photo freedom sticker sheet or something. Actually, I think that's exactly where it came from. Funny enough, even though I sort it by color and I take it apart from its original packaging, I still usually remember where it's from, just because my stash isn't so large that I don't know, and I do love my stash, so I know where things come from typically. I really hope I'm not the only insane person that knows those things. But it's okay. I'm okay with that. I've embraced it. If I am the only crazy person that knows those type of things, I've embraced it, and I'll be all right. Just kind of cutting apart a couple different things here. I had this black and white polka dot card, and it has a very thin pink dash line separating kind of the white label part of that and the black and white polka dot, and you can't see it here, but you should be able to see it in the close-ups at the end when I do the photos at the end. And if you can't see it there, definitely go check out my blog, because you should be able to see it on those close-ups. So I'm just kind of creating two little banners here, and then I'm going to stamp at the top in that white space. And I was just trying to see if I wanted to put that green piece there. I knew it needed to go somewhere up here to the top left, but I wasn't exactly sure what card I wanted to put that on. And like I say, I skip around from card to card to card to card. So I'll tell you what they all say. The top left card just says September SEPT 2015, and that 2015 was actually done using these Tim Holtz stickers that I'm using right now. I love these little stickers. I'm probably going to have to buy some more though because I'm out of S's. I believe I'm out of T's now, and I might be out of O's as well. I love them. They're awesome. They're really awesome. They come in handy, and they're so well worth the cost of them. And I want to say they're only like $3.99 or $4.99, something like that. I actually got mine at Hobby Lobby. I don't know if Michael's carries them. I got them a couple years ago though. I think right after they came out at Hobby Lobby. So this top right card that says Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, and that's where, like I said, one of our favorite places to go. I'm going to put the word favorite or the words favorite place up in the top left of the photo. And then right now I'm putting down the wood veneer that says celebrate. And I just wrote birthday dinner on that black circle label card. And then I'm going to stamp a little, or I've already stamped a little star. Now the black and white polka dot card has the little banners on it. I'm going to add a wood veneer star over there to balance out the wood veneer celebrate on this card. And then I'm going to stamp the words anything is possible. Like I said, I really like these stamps. This is where I'm kind of seeing, okay, what's going to fit up here? And I like that anything is possible. It's just kind of a scripty font with a regular basic font. It's extremely cute. Then the card that's next to that has the teal grid pattern stripes on it, says this is going to be good, and it's got a little star down there beside the good. I wanted to repeat the star in a couple places on the layout because I did put it up there by the birthday dinner, so it was just an easy thing to kind of replicate and duplicate across the page. Plus they're really cute. They're on the stamp set. There's a couple different size stars on the stamp set. Then I'm going to use this Polaroid camera. No, not Polaroid camera. Polaroid card to actually do a bit of journaling. I could have put a small photo there, but I didn't have a small photo that needed to be scrapbooked in this month. So there was really nothing fitting to put there other than journaling. And since I don't really have any major journaling anywhere else on the page, it was the perfect place to put it. And I'm also going to put a flare there. That flare that you see sitting there says remember. It's one of those smaller, more flat flare, which is what I prefer. And the journaling says, this summer we started a new tradition, eating a picnic lunch together at Whole Foods, healthy and relaxing. And that references the two photos that are below at the very bottom of the page. And like I said, the photo at the top is going to be a little bit better explained whenever I do the 12 by 12 page that's going to be facing this Project Life page. And then at the bottom of that card, I also stamped, it already had the word happy, and so I used the little label that says today is, and then has a blank spot. So I just stamped that right over the happy. And I am going to add, as you see, I am going to add a bunch of different little embellishment pieces around on each card, making sure that the colors and motifs are balanced across the page. And that's exactly why I did these stars stamped on a bunch of different cards. Then the last 3x4 card is the one that says 1. And so what I did is I used my Tim Holtz stickers, and you can see them over the 1. But what it says is 1 happy day. And I just wrote happy day with those Tim Holtz little tiny alpha tile stickers. I used a very tiny little piece of a doily that I had left, and I layered it right under the heart, the green vellum heart. I also used a pink word sticker that says smile. And then I have a little circle star. It's a little gray circle with a white star in it. And it's the same little kind of sketchy hand doodled star that the stamps are. And so I layer that right on top of the edge of the heart as well. Now the bottom left photo is a photo of the three of us sitting at Whole Foods. And the only bit of journaling that's on there just says lunch at Whole Foods, and I wrote that on the pink label that's kind of in the bottom left cluster. And then the very last card here is the bottom right photo. It's a 4x6 photo of Kaylin, and he just looks so happy. It's just another day that we're sitting there eating at Whole Foods. I think we do this probably 3 to 4 days a week during the summer, fall, and spring. They have a really nice outdoor and indoor eating area, but we prefer the outside because it's just a lot more relaxing. It's quiet. It's just, oh, it's so peaceful. It's a nice break from work, and Kaylin gets out of preschool right at 12:15, so it's perfect timing to just be able to pick them up, go over there and eat lunch, and we pack our own lunch. We either bring leftovers or Ernest makes something before he meets us for lunch, and then we go into Whole Foods and get, fresh fruit or something like that. And on that pink label, I just stamped the stamp that says celebrate the little things, because this is really something special for us as a family. Now, the cards are all pretty much done. I'm just kind of looking around here to make sure everything is balanced. Now, I have the gray arrows at the top on the title card, and I put one right there on the photo of the three of us, but there wasn't another one, and I like to put things in clusters of 3. So I'm going around to see where else I can put it, and I'm going to end up putting it right here at the top of this journal card that I did. And I have the arrows on the 2 left cards pointing to the right, and then this arrow is pointing to the left, kind of to face into the middle of the page. And then I added that gray star, and that was just another way to balance out the gray arrows. All right, and I'm just adding a few small minor touches, and then we are done, and I'll do a quick recap here for you guys. Okay, so now I've completed the layout, and as I mentioned at the very beginning, the design topic for this Project Life spread was balance. So I only have 3 photos, which is very uncommon for me, I guess you could say. Usually I have at least 2 3x4 photos in the middle, but I actually just didn't have any for this Project Life spread. So I did my normal title card. All of my 4x6 were on the white cardstock, which these actually were printed with the white border, so I didn't even need to do that. And this one had enough white space around the edges, I didn't need to add an additional border. Now, you saw probably in the last 2 minutes or so of the process video that I actually was going back and I was looking at each card trying to decide, okay, is there enough of stuff on each one? And I added this little pink strip because almost every card, or actually every card, does have this bright pink, and this card didn't. So I noticed that it looked a little unbalanced because it was the only card that didn't have that. Just the same, only 3 places had this green, and I felt like there needed to be a little bit more, so I added a little bit of green here. Again, every card had this teal part on it, or at least some variation of the teal, and this one didn't, so I added it down here. And then lastly, the one thing that I went back and added, or the last thing I went back and added, was another arrow and then this gray star, just to add a bit more of the gray in another spot. I had it here and on this card, but nothing on the right, on this right panel of the page. So that tells you a little bit about the balance that I'm referencing. I have a couple filler cards balanced with a Project Life card. This is, a journaling card. This one has a little bit more weight because it has the writing on it, but this one also has a little bit more weight because it has the dark, dark polka dot. I debated adding a black element to this card, but the stamping is in black, so it's sufficient enough for me. I do have that same alpha in 3 different places, the year, favorite place, and then happy day, so it says 1 happy day here. And then I have stamping in a few different places on the layout. And that pretty much is it. To me, this feels very balanced. Now, the only thing I really have one of is this flare badge. But I've got 3 circles here, and I feel like this is centered enough that it doesn't really need to be balanced out anywhere else because it's kind of in the center of the page. And then the only other thing that I really only have one of is the title with these puffy stickers, and that's okay with me because it's my title card. It's meant to stand out just a little bit. Other than that, though, this layout accomplishes what I wanted it to, which was, of course, tell my story, but also be very balanced across the entire page. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!